For our next story, let's shift focus to East Africa, where Kenya has been hit by another wave of bloody protests. Hundreds took to the streets yesterday. Police opened fire on demonstrators. At least 11 people were killed and more than 500 arrested. This protest comes after several others in recent weeks. Like on June 25th, when Kenya was rocked by nationwide protests and at least 19 people were killed. So why is anger mounting in the country, and how has President William Ruto responded? Here's a report.
Saba Saba means 7-7 in Kiswahili. It refers to July 7th in 1990, when Kenyans demanded a return to multi-party democracy. They marched to shun years of autocratic rule by then-President Daniel Arap Moi. Since then, every year, Kenyans hold a rally on July 7th, just as they did yesterday. But this year, the protest turned into a wider call for the current president, William Ruto, to resign. Hundreds of Kenyans took to the streets. They walked on heavily barricaded roads leading to key government sites, including the president's official residence, State House, and the Kenyan Parliament. Soon clashes broke out across the country, especially in capital Nairobi. Demonstrators lit fires and attempted to breach the police cordons. The police responded by firing live rounds, water cannons, and tear gas at the protesters. They say 52 officers and 11 civilians were injured in the violence. But according to the state-run Kenyan National Commission on Human Rights, the police used excessive force. At least 11 people were killed nationwide and over 550 people were arrested. The police reportedly operated in plainclothes and unmarked vehicles, and collaborated with armed criminal gangs. As per the report, they even abducted at least 2 protesters. While most are blaming the police, some residents blame young Kenyans for engaging in looting and violence under the garb of demonstrations.
Some goons, because they are not Gen Z protesters, they are goons. They invaded our shop, and by the way, we have lost so many things. We lost cash, phones, a lot of them amounting to very huge amounts.
Phones, a lot of them, amounting to very huge amounts.
We found that the entrance was broken into. Then they hit the window glass trying to go through the windows, but did not manage it. So they came back to the entrance and got in, looting all the electronics.
But protesters accuse the authorities of paying armed vandals to discredit their movement, and they remain undeterred.
The reason we are protesting is because the government we are still trying to get this government so that they can listen to the people, and nobody's listening. So that's why you protest. Extrajudicial killing, you can see corruption in the government, and nobody's in the end.
Last year, nationwide anti-government protests over a tax bill rocked Kenya. Dozens of people lost their lives. And the country hasn't been the same since. Amid economic turmoil, rising police violence, unemployment, and corruption scandals, young Kenyans have regularly taken to the streets. In fact, only a few days ago, on the 25th of June, at least 19 people were killed in a day of nationwide protests that were being held to honor those who lost their lives in last year's anti-tax protests. But President Ruto continues to remain in denial. He has repeatedly supported the police, despite calls for justice amid mounting cases of police brutality. The Ruto government has called the protesters criminals, terrorists, and accused them of trying to raise a coup. But despite the government crackdown, the protesters remain defiant. As the situation continues to spiral, question is, who will blink first?
Firstpost now available in 9 languages on YouTube. English,
Stands at $36 trillion.
French,
Le FMI, comme
German,
Geschäftsführenden Direktor
Hindi,
$30 trillion ka karjo.
Indonesian,
Pemerintah tanpa pemeriksaan.
Italian,
Sekali radikali.
Japanese,
$4 以上も.
Portuguese,
por causa do próprio balanço patrimonial.
Spanish.
Beautiful bill.
Go to Settings, click on Audio Track and select the language of your choice. Be the first to know what's happening around you in your first language. Firstpost.